Hello and welcome to another walk along. Today we're taking a walk all the way from the undercity of Junon to Kalm. Let's get started on that.
Take a look at the new photo we got for Clear Skies.
They do an amazing job of making all these towns and cities feel extremely lived in, with so many unique animations from all the NPCs gathered around, and a lot of them having interactions with Cloud and the party.
All right, giddy up!
The safety of our children has to be our top priority, boy. Isn't Priscilla just adorable?
If you're familiar with the original FF7 story, them going out of their way to make all these NPCs, even the throwaway ones, feel important is a really clever move on their part, even if we don't see the story go the same direction as the original. Looking down in here, if you go to the water edge, it's surprisingly clean for a location that's supposed to be represented as polluted. Perhaps Mako poisoning isn't directly reflected in water, and that's why it seems fine. Or maybe there's something else going on here with the pollution that I'm not aware of. Here in the distance, you can see some sort of giant power source that the Shinra Electric Company likely built, with a rather comical sign saying danger, as if that's enough to justify building a city on top of this town. A bit funny, I'd say. Some good environmental storytelling here right at the entrance to Under Junon. We get this sign here amidst this shack that's in disrepair. I like to imagine in my head that this possibly could have been a trading post for Under Junon, where other towns and cities would come to trade with them or make deals. But it's kind of up to the player to really decide what's going in a lot of these places. You can see this tank in the distance here. Feels very reminiscent of the General's tank from FF7 Reunion. I could see a lot of inspiration maybe coming from this design and how they pulled that into here. See all these propaganda posters as you approach the main entrance to Junon. Really trying to pull in as many people into their grunt work as they can. Now, we will be doing some combat here and there, but I am playing on easy, so we can minimize that since that is not the focus of the video. So these fights will be very quick. If you blink, you'll probably miss a lot of them. Seems that fight Barrett got a bit too excited. The amount of detail and debris and just interesting foliage they put into the ground in this game is so very detailed. It makes it very believable, and I feel more games should try to emphasize that, since the players are going to be seeing the ground a lot more than they're going to be seeing other areas in their field of view. Even right here on the ground, as we're going up this hill, we can see all these skid marks. So possibly things getting dragged along, maybe people slipping, or maybe tracking from carts and various cars. This is one thing they could handle better in the next game, is a lot of times when you look off into the coastline, the vistas, they're not as detailed as other vistas. As you'll see when we turn around here in a bit and look at Junon in itself, which looks fantastic. Here we can see the condor in the distance. If you watch this vein, it seems like they give it priority for LOD and other various veins because it looks quite good even from this distance in its animations. It's going to get quite dark in the Mythril Mine. Luckily, we'll have various crystals and lights installed by the miners to get a better look of everything. Here we can see another little subtle environmental storytelling that I like with this miner's equipment laid about. Makes you think when this was left here. Was it when they evacuated the Mythril Mines? Or was there someone who came in here after searching for Mythril and other valuables? We got this sign. It's kind of hard to read. On the right side, it's in full English, just saying some general rules that people should follow while in here. And on the left, it seems like complete gibberish. I don't think it's a language in the Final Fantasy universe either. It does not look like Sentra, because that wouldn't make sense for it to be Sentra anyway. Here we can do something very goofy. This pulley elevator with this massive gear serving as the rotating portion. Was the gear here before the pulley system? Did it have a different purpose? Why did they put this gear on a route of all things? I'm just going to chop it up to Final Fantasy. When I was practicing this route, I did notice that all of the debris, or at least most of it, seems hand-placed. You see this log on the stairwell here. I ran into this every time I was here. Here we can see a map of the mines. I opened the in-game map that the player gets. I couldn't really line it up anywhere, so it doesn't seem like there's really much to it beyond that. Here we can see we're exiting the tour part of the mine shafts and entering the part where the workers did their job. so a lot more dangerous and intended to be restricted, with a lot more critters running about. With this game being so detailed, a lot of times the devs will do signposting to help the player find their way around. And here we have the spotlight shining outward onto this cliff face and helping illuminate the ladder in hopes that the player will naturally find it. Though with that, they ended up going a step farther. I assume in playtesting with this, people still weren't finding some of the ladders, so now all the ladders have an icon attached to them. This location with all the shacks and various things, we have this opening in the cave above, allowing for a lot of oxygen to come in, implying that the workers might have lived here while they worked. Crazy. Or maybe they took breaks in these shacks, so they wouldn't have to leave the entire mine shaft in between their shifts. Down this cliff face, which does not have any of the infamously yellow paint signposting on it. Almost all the grabbable cliff faces do in this game, and instead just having lights fixed to it, which I think looks much better than yellow paint. Here you can see we're re-entering the guided tour portion of the mine shaft on the opposite end. Does anyone know what this is trying to represent? It seems to be battery operated, and it looks like it mounts down. When I was looking through a bunch of things, it looks very similar to a one-man drill or an older style drill that would have a tripod. Maybe this is inspired by something like that, though I'm not entirely sure. I've noticed a few people commenting about how it's really funny in Final Fantasy XIV that walking upstairs or other weird elevated locations, your character doesn't snap their feet to each step. And in here, you'll see, as I've been going for the various stairs, that they do go for the effort of making sure the cast is believably walking up and down the stairwell. This is definitely a limitation on not only budget, but probably performance as well in Final Fantasy XIV. It being an MMO, having to track a lot of people at once going up and down stairs, and not only that, but animating, I think it's 10 different skeletons or close to that for all the playable races. There's a little more, so you can kind of see where their priorities come to in a game that's supposed to be this very high fidelity remake of a very old game versus an ongoing MMO experience. And it's a really interesting comparison to see on where devs are choosing to prioritize their resources. Nice little museum exhibit where you get a fairly loose idea of how this place might have operated. We finally arrived at the Grassland, and we'll be taking a quick little trip through this very beautiful swamp. For this, we will be using a chocobo to cross the swamp. Yes, I know. Blasphemy, not walking all the way. Originally in the practice runs for this, I was swimming across the swamp. It ended up being very awkward to watch, and the sounds were kind of annoying. And I found out the chocobos swimming across it makes for a much more pleasant viewing experience, as well as a nice sound. And since we won't be doing much talking as we cross the swamp, I figured this was the best choice. So please enjoy this little trip across the swamp. We've arrived on shore, and now we're going to be taking a wrap around the grasslands to stop at a few places and eventually make our way to Kalm. these really subtle details that you might miss if you're sprinting through these areas where you can see the life energy dissipating off of various parts in the ground. It looks very pretty. And here we can see an example of bad signpost where they have this yellow paint strewn up and down the cliff. There's a lot of ways that you could have made this seem better, like maybe have an abandoned grapple hook dangling and make it like red, or various other things I'm sure other people have thought of. That makes it just seem like a more natural location. I assume this is probably due to budget and time constraints that they ended up going with the yellow paints. And it was probably a last second decision when they were seeing people playtest and just completely skip all these locations. And we ended up with, well, something slightly less pleasant to look at. Something that very is pleasant, and the reason we took this side path is we get to take a look at a Lifespring.
Moving on then.
Taking a look at the ground and a well-done petal I find enough to make Insomniac jealous. I was looking at these deer as we passed, or antelope, or something of the sort. It seems like they are not dimorphic, like a lot of other various deer and similar fauna that usually tend to be more dimorphic in their appearance. Our first little chocobo chick, and one of many likely to come. Won't be too much to say for a little bit, so let's just enjoy this stroll along the cliffside. And we're going to take this little detour down to the Titan Sanctuary. A very otherworldly feel in these sanctuary locations. One that inspires a lot of thoughts about the ancient civilization that left it behind. Here we can see this windmill that is actually being used to mill, of all things. In a lot of video games, we often see windmills just strewn about and used as a set piece, which I think works really well. But giving that windmill context for how it functions in the universe is always nice. Now let's take a quick little zip around Bill's ranch. Bill and quite a lot of the other NPCs will have additional dialogue if you come back to them and talk to them at various different points based on achievements you've completed and progression in the story.
Fortunately for me, I got a young whippersnapper in Billy, and he's ready to put in the work. Make sure your victory don't go to waste.
The Devil Incarnate, Chad.
I see so much of Will and Clara in Billy and Chloe. Their drive, ambition, their work ethic. Looking forward to seeing the people they become.
And here is the grain that the windmills are grinding up. That context I was talking about earlier, it's nice to see it come to fruition and have a source for why all these windmills are all over the place. This bridge, while somewhat nonsensical with how the planks are nailed down, is very nice looking. Almost makes me want to whip out a fishing rod right there. Now we are arriving at the Windmill settlement and Oliver's farm. Here we'll be checking out a nice view on the cliff edge. It's a bit absurd seeing earth cows in a Final Fantasy game, which the Final Fantasy series is no stranger to that. I just always find it ridiculous when you're walking along fighting crazy monsters from unknown depths, and then there's just cow. Oh, what's your livestock? Oh, cow. in the distance, as well as a few other times as we're traveling along. You can see the quarried out mountain and just how much they quarried out of it. It's quite insane. There we can see Kalm, our final destination, as we approach. This little gully or trail, I guess you could put it, I find somewhat intriguing. It seems like there may have been at one point a riverbed that crossed through this. If you open the map, it feels like a place that was very dried out and has a lot of small diverging channels on it. Maybe at some point Kalm used this as a drainage location for various wastes, or perhaps the construction of Kalm disrupted this river channel and now it's dried completely. Though this is just speculation on my part. Now we're entering Kalm's air raid shelter. I find this place very nice looking in the industrial sense. Even though this place is mostly meant as a loading transition area, given that this game was originally on the PS5, I still enjoy crossing through it. Now we're about to enter the inn, which is going to be very lively compared to the grasslands we were just tolling through.
The illegal broadcast from the Shinra Resistance Committee and the interim Wu-Taian government has left many fearful of future attacks. The Shinra Electric Power Company regrets the distress inflicted upon the people and has promised to make a public statement in the near future to address their concerns. Public security anticipates a rise in misinformation in the coming days and is encouraging everyone to go about their lives as normal.
I can't even remember the last time you invited me out for lunch like this. So,
These signs here just
how much
list
do you need
various
this
drinks that you can get, and a larger menu sign in the back, which you can see in a few other places in this town, is very low resolution and seems like partial gibberish. The only thing I was able to make out when I was reading it up close was like cheeseburger, maybe, and I don't even know if it actually said that. Again, as with Junon entering this town, we get to see just how lively every single NPC is in this place. They're all doing their own thing. They all feel like they are their own individual person, living their own lives.
Ow! You can't yell at kitties like that. You're gonna scare them away. Here, have some food. That's for chocobos, not cats. Huh?
To review, she gets off work at 7 on the dot, and her favorite drink is a Grasslands-style Pilsner. Got that?
Got it. I'll invite her out for drinks.
Took them long enough.
Just make sure it doesn't happen again. All right?
To normal.
As we enter down this alleyway, we can see these very lovely
I don't know,
wisteria
man.
vines hanging up
Everyone's saying
from
that another
above,
war might break
and
out.
the lady is even spraying them with a water bottle to keep them moist and hydrated.
Lose to them, right? Have you heard? Broden's missing. He just up and
Love all these signage in this town. Feels like something you might see in a small town as you're passing by for these local stores with all their own custom signage that they've either made themselves or commissioned from somebody else in town.
Imposing yet welcoming.
Hey, we haven't got all day.
It seems like the pathing for a lot of NPCs in these locations is scheduled out, as when I was doing the test run for specifically Kalm, this lady in the pink I saw every single time. I'm not sure why the devs are so obsessed with making all the Queen's Blood opponents the most ridiculous, over-the-top, silly people, but I'm here.
I will construct the wall to protect this town for all eternity. Now come and shower me with praise for my magnificent accomplishments. For I am none other than Mutant
The rising star of Kalm. Don't miss Akira's homecoming concert.
So I can remember you just the way you are. Destiny stars, children I hope you see
The rising star of Kalm. Don't miss Akira's homecoming concert. Adored in Wall Market and the world over. His silky smooth voice is sure to stir your soul.
How about a slice
What hidden
of mystery pizza? Just one bite and you'll find yourself running back.
Maybe I should grab some potions.
fresh bread, straight from the oven. We've got plenty of sandwiches and lunches too.
From Junon Harbor, right here. Good grilled.
So, what's new with you? As for me, the hotel I left my son in Costa del Sol seems to be doing well.
Well, that's excellent news. Personally, I'm thinking of investing in a Chocobo racing team.
If it's
Now we're going to take this back entrance into the Rusty Arrow. Very nice bar, and I'm just going to let it speak for itself as we soak in the vibes.
The illegal broadcast from the Shinra Resistance Committee and the interim Wu-Taiyan government has left many fearful of future attacks. The Shinra Electric Power Company regrets the distress inflicted upon the people and has promised to make a public statement in the near future to address their concerns. Public security anticipates a rise in misinformation in the coming days and is encouraging everyone to go about their lives as normal.
Know what the Cosmo Canyon cocktail symbolizes? The guiding star of destiny. That's what you mean to me.
Same. Now that I can relate to.
Hear about that Wu-Taiyan Shinra Resistance Commission or
Cactor,
whatever?
rather dangerous thing to keep in a town. Or perhaps Final Fantasy XIV players? Allied Society? Come on. Come on. No? Okay. All the shops here just have beautiful signage.
This one looks sharp.
And here we have the weapon shop Selvakarsa. Our blacksmiths work endlessly to supply people of Kalm with arms to defend themselves.
Need something for the kids? How about a handmade wooden doll? All natural, made from local wood.
I don't think
Guaranteed
you
to
should
bring
buy
closer
dolls
to
for this
that
guy.
Special someone too. Brings you good luck and keeps you safe to boot. There's nothing this doll can't do. Sold only
Free samples available. We've got Midgar style too. They're as sweet as can be, all with 0 calories.
0 calories? I don't know what kind of witchcraft she's doing. We're arriving at the clock tower. As we go up the clock tower, we'll see various paintings, and some of them of the exact location we're at. There's quite a lot of tourist locations in real life that also do this, where they just have a painting of the building, a painting or a picture of the building inside the same building. It's like, yeah, I know where I am. I don't know why you have this in here. Sometimes it makes sense where it's, you know, here's this black and white photo or sepia photo of when this building was first established by my grandpeepaw. And in that part, it's like, oh, okay, I get in it. But sometimes it's just, why do you have this in here? Well, that was a way longer walk than I expected it to be, and that was only the eastern continent. Thank you for watching another walk along, this time in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Top left, another walk along. Top right, another video. Down low, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye bye!